Hello, Joygasmic Beautifuls. We are here today with Olivia Bryant, who I met at Hubud, which is where we're at right now, and she is a sex and relationship coach.
Yeah.
And she's here to talk with us today about dead relationships and how do you fix them, and are they fixable, and should you try? So what do you think, Olivia? I mean, is it sometimes just too dead to be dead?
Yeah, it's funny that word fix, you know, like I think the minute you start with the word fix, it's like you can only ever see the problem. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's really, the first step would be to acknowledge that we're in a challenge and that perhaps nothing needs to be fixed or changed right at this point. So we're just in a difficult situation. So if you reframe it, the minute you see yourself or your partner as needing to be fixed or as the problem or everything is the problem, you'll never see past the problem. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that's the first step, and I think then it's really looking at, are both partners willing? Are both partners willing? Because often when it gets to really dead, it's like someone's out, and once they're out, then there has to be a loving. I think it's completely reasonable to have a loving separation and actually have the courage to let go. And that would be if you can no longer grow together, if you've reached the point of evolution. And I think in your relationship, because I think we have these standards which say that a successful relationship is one that lasts forever, but I don't think that that's necessarily true. If you're with someone who's no longer willing to grow and change with you, then it could signify that relationship, you've had your time with it. On the other hand, if both partners are willing, right, there's still underneath all of the story around a relationship. If both people are willing to evolve and progress, then there's hope. So each partner has to start to look at, what can I be responsible for? Why have I created this person in my life showing up to me as a problem? Yeah? Why is this person that once I loved, now I've changed my mind about this person? So they've become how I'm creating them. And it's very difficult to see past the story that you've imposed on someone. Yeah? So it's about then looking at how you can be responsible for your story on that person. You limit that person by believing that they're stuck, that is how they are. Because it's actually not how they are. It's how you've begun to create them, and you begin to collect evidence that, yep, that's how they are. So first of all, it's being willing to drop that story and be open to the possibility that they're more than just that. They're more than that. Often people shut down when they feel under pressure to change, to be fixed. So once you get that you've been putting all of this expectation on the person to be someone that they're not, and you let go, you let them be who they are, then they have space to come forward towards you. So that responsibility piece, it's a real healer, because then you can come to the other person and say, listen, I can see that this is how I've been being in the relationship, which has meant that it's shut you down, and I'm sorry. And then I would ask both people to discuss what they would like their relationship to look like now. What is the next evolution of this? And it's not going to go from completely broken to absolutely fantastic. It's a process. So now, what is the next step in this relationship? You know, how can we begin to bring respect back in, bring trust back in? What are the vulnerable conversations that have to be had? And that's tricky, because once people start to feel unsafe in a relationship, then it's the vulnerability piece kind of starts. That's when they become unwilling to share. So the safety has to be recreated. So responsibility, acknowledgement, and then safety recreated.
Yeah, because if you don't feel safe in a relationship, you don't feel like you can say the difficult things, then you've lost the juiciness of it, where it's like, I'm willing to put myself out there. And that,
Yeah.
that vulnerability, that willingness to put yourself out there in relationship is what makes it so like
Yeah.
vain.
Exactly. And safety can be created by setting intentions and promises, recommitting to each other, and also things like even tantric practices like presence and seeing each other again, breathing with each other, like spooning each other and breathing together. Things that start to gently ease your way back into connection. So you're always working on the connection piece outside of the bedroom first, and then eventually the body can start to open again. That's if that doesn't resonate with you, that's just how I've seen it work. Some people can go straight to the physical, and then their hearts can open. But in my experience, I've seen it has to begin by opening the heart and creating the connection again before the body will open again. So there's some steps.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a journey, and it's a humbling journey, because it's really easy to go, they're the problem.
It's way easier to point a finger than it is to look at yourself.
That's one of the
and say,
hardest
"I gotta
things I've
change."
ever learned, is go, where I've been pointing a finger, 3 are pointing back at me. And it's a humbling lesson. If there's willingness, that's a great start. That's really all you need, is just willingness, determination and recommitting.
Yeah, and if you've been together for a long time, and if that spark was there when you first met, it's like it can be rekindled, right?
I really recommend getting help as well. It's very hard to do on your own. It's kind of like trying to tickle yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it just helps to have someone that can give a different perspective. Otherwise communication can come out a little sideways. It can sound a bit more. It can still sound a bit like expectation, and you have to do this, and there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's
Thank you, Olivia. If anybody's interested in getting help along these lines, Olivia is, I would say, the person to ask about that. And her website is oliviabryant.com.au, and the link is down below. So we hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.